Hey guys, today I am here in Angleton, Texas at Crocodile Encounter. It's an amazing facility with a huge, diverse collection of crocodilians and other wildlife. But today we're having Texas Crocfest. It's the first ever Crocfest in the state of Texas. It's a big fundraiser for crocodile conservation, and this year's beneficiary is actually the Tomistoma, or the Sunda Gharial. So let's go check it out. Let's go talk to some people, find out about the conservation project and what else we got going on here.
It's a great story. It's an amazing story. It was a huge surprise, I think, to all of us that are involved in Crocfest. But it came about because Flavio Morrissey and I were at a zoo meeting in, I believe, 2008, and we listened to some women on a fundraising committee talk about holding a croc fundraiser at a zoo up north. And it was mostly involving children, and they had little tattoos and artists painting tattoos on the kids' faces, and they had stickers and coloring pages, and they talked about crocodiles and the importance of crocodiles. And at the end of the day, subtracting out the expenses that they incurred, they made $175 or something like that. And we both said, that's just crazy, you know, we should be able to do better than that for crocodiles.
Crocfest was, I guess, conceived in a very hot summer setting in beginning of July of 2009. We went to a barbecue that a friend put on, Bruce Schwedick. And Bruce put this barbecue on for a few of us in the croc industry as a friend, really good friend of all of us, which was Ralph Sommerlod from Frankfurt, Germany. He would come into Florida quite a bit.
He was a German croc biologist and a zoo guy, and very well known in Europe. He was a CSG European chair, and he was well known for creating exhibits for zoos, realistic exhibits, the way Germans do. They're fabulous at that kind of thing. And he came to Florida every year to vacation.
So we all got together, a bunch of croc guys hanging out, and one of the things that I was trying to push for at the time was any type of fundraising ideas for crocodile conservation, because I heard about it all the time. I'd be sitting around tables, they're talking about how do we raise money for crocodile conservation. So one of the concepts that I always came up with is everybody around this table just pitch in $10 into the middle, and next thing you know, if you had 18 people, then hey, there's $180 you can throw towards conservation somehow. Anyway, that was the concept.
The first Crocfest ever was a meeting of about 20 people in Florida. Everybody brought an auction item. They sold their auction items to each other, and together they raised about $1,000, which we used to send Joe a bean to China to benefit the Chinese alligator.
And that was where it got started. We had fun doing it, and then the word spread, and so the next fundraiser we raised like $4,000, and the one after that it was $8,000, and it just went on and on and on.
We are here about 16 years later after the concept, and we are in Texas, Angleton, Texas, at Crocodile Encounter, and this is owned by Chris Dieter. He is our host. How Crocfest works is a host volunteers their facility for Crocfest to have it at. And we provide some food, we provide some beverages, everything from water to beer.
In December of 2024, we topped $1 million raised by Crocfest, and that is not $1 million raised and then we all paid ourselves. That was $1 million that went into the field.
We also provide all the people that have an interest in crocodiles and reptiles, and they get together, they hang out, they share their knowledge, because we don't get to see each other often. People come from all over, from Europe, Asia, all across the United States. We're in Texas. I've seen people from South Carolina, Florida, Texas, all over the place. So yeah, you can come to a Crocfest, meet the experts in the field that work with all the different species around the world.
It's private sector people that care about reptiles and love crocodiles. It is zoos that account for roughly a third of our collection, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, depending on the project. And then a few of the reptile businesses like Rodent Pro and Timberline and ZooMed that kick in every single time. And so this mushroomed into this, this fun, family-friendly fundraiser that we generally do twice a year.
Crocfest is completely manned by volunteers. The cost of Crocfest, food and drink, all covered by sponsors. So $1 million went out for worldwide conservation for crocodiles.
It's just been a great thing. None of us really foresaw in the beginning of this, how much it would grow. But it's been a lot of fun. We've met a lot of great people, and we've made an impact, worldwide in various areas where they have crocodiles. It's easy to raise money for elephants, for sea turtles, for manatees even. Crocodiles are probably at the bottom of the list because you either really love them or a lot of people abhor them, but they don't get a lot of fundraising efforts.
Because these big toothy friends are frequently thought of as fierce predators that like to consume people and their pets, a lot of conservation dollars don't go to them, even though they are a critical part of our ecosystem. In fact, several years ago, we did a survey among zoos and other conservation organizations to see what percentage of the funds that they raised for conservation programs actually went to crocodilians. And believe it or not, it was 0.03%. Fortunately, at that time, Crocfest was already underway. We had no idea how successful we would be. Thank heavens for our corporate sponsors. Thank heavens for the researchers that grew up to become researchers, to study these animals. Thank heavens for zoos and for hobbyists who love reptiles, all kinds of reptiles, including crocodilians, because it is thanks to those groups of people that we have been this successful. And we have nothing but gratitude for the people who support us in this endeavor.
This year we're hosting Crocfest for the Tomistoma, and our researcher, that money that we raise here today, it's going to go straight to the researcher. He's here today. So you can meet him amongst other researchers that are helping along with this project. So that's what Crocfest is all about. It's real simple. It's not incorporated. It is you.
The focus is going to be on assessing high priority sites for the population status of the Sundagarial, which we also refer to as Tomistoma. Scientific name is Tomistoma schlegeli. And we selected a few priority areas in Borneo, which is located in Southeast Asia, and it's a few of these areas have not really been assessed to determine what the population status is of the species. And so we want to go in, do surveys to determine how many animals, or roughly how many animals there are in certain areas. We'd also like to collect genetic samples and compare how different those populations are from one another genetically, because there could be some really unique genetic populations out there that we're not even aware of, simply because these animals occur in remote regions and the work has never been done. So there could be some really unique lineages of Tomistoma out there. Crocfest is really incredible. It's created this opportunity where all these people come together and they're raising funds specifically for the conservation of this species in a way that we wouldn't be able to do otherwise. There's very few funding sources to work on a conservation project like this for a species in Southeast Asia, outside of the US, that we could access otherwise. Federal sources are typically very challenging for a project like this, and Crocfest brings all these people together, brings this opportunity to bring funding together, and it's really irreplaceable. Yeah, we couldn't do it without them.
Now, one thing I always hear from people that don't love crocodiles like I do is crocodiles kill and eat people. Why should we conserve something that kills and eats people? And, you know, I think the simple answer is every animal deserves to live. Every animal has survived hundreds of millions of years of evolution to get to where it is now. Everything is amazing. So if we lose one species, we lose all of that time, all of that history, all of that evolutionary history. And it's just tragic to me. But let's see what some of our experts have to say.
Yeah, why do we want to conserve crocodiles? Why do we want to conserve anything? Though this planet was designed with an intricate web. Everybody knows about the web of life. But specifically, crocodilians are the apex predator in the waterway.
You need apex predator to keep the ecosystem alive. Get rid of the apex predator, you're going to have a problem with not just crocodiles, but with everything else. This kind of system falls apart. So we need crocs in the aquatic ecosystems where they are today, and that's why we want to save crocodiles. And it's not just the crocodile you're saving, it's everything connected to the crocodile you're saving when you do crocodile conservation.
If a crocodile belongs in a river, a lake, lagoon, and all the crocodiles are removed, the first thing that is noticed is the quality of the fish, and the number of the fish is severely degraded. And only when a crocodile that is native to that habitat is restored is the abundance of fish and other aquatic life restored.
One thing that's important here is there's a lot of nuance when it comes to the risk of crocodile attacks on humans, because there's so many species throughout the world. And as far as Tomistoma goes, they actually are not involved in nearly as many attacks on humans as many other species. For example, they overlap with the saltwater crocodile throughout many areas in Southeast Asia where they occur. And the saltwater crocodile is the main species that is attacking humans on a regular basis. Now, that being said, Tomistoma grow very big. They can be up to at least 16 or 17 feet in length, potentially bigger. And occasionally they are involved with attacks, and they have killed people. Now, that being said, if you look at them ecologically, they play important roles. They manage prey populations. They are ecosystem engineers that are out there shaping certain water holes, creating deeper spots for certain fish or turtle species, and they probably serve a lot of ecological roles or functions that we're not even aware of, simply because we haven't studied them enough.
There's roughly 26 species of crocodilians, and that changes as the nomenclature experts come up with genetic differentiation. But most of those species are endangered or critically endangered, and especially 8 or 10 of them. And so there are some of them in danger of disappearing from the world map altogether. And it's not a good thing. It's this whole thing that Our entire planet is based on the mapping of species relating and interrelating, and the ecology of species overlapping and depending on one another. And for sure, it's been established that waterways are healthier and better environments for all wildlife when crocodilians exist in those places. So oftentimes these conservation issues become management issues when you're successful at increasing the population, and now you have human crocodile conflict issues, and it's a matter of teaching people how to live with crocs. There's lots of ways to do that. They're doing it in northern Australia. They have a huge ad campaign there, and you don't hear of very many people getting eaten by saltwater crocs there, even though that population has rebounded significantly since the 1970s, be croc-wise.
So if you lose that species from the landscape, there's something called cascade effects where it could trickle through the ecosystem and impact a lot of other species in these really unique ecosystems. And so just from a ecosystem perspective, they're very important. They also are important culturally to many of the people throughout the region, and they are more and more important from an economic perspective because many people want to go and see these animals in the wild in their natural setting, and you can preserve these amazing ecosystems, these swamp forests that they occur in, and if you keep these animals on the landscape, tourism is a great way to bring in revenue for many of these local villages that wouldn't otherwise have it. And they're such a charismatic species and a keystone species that they're potentially a draw for a lot of those tourism activities. So there's a lot of other reasons to conserve these animals, despite the fact that they are crocodiles, and I think they're very important.
I think it would be folly on the part of any human being to believe that we could eliminate those animals that we dislike or that we don't understand from our ecosystem, and there will not be a price to pay for that.
We really want to thank Chris and his entire staff for making this day happen. This is such a fantastic facility. So many species here, and the enclosures are huge. The animals are living very closely to the way in which they would live in the wild. You can't do that in most modern zoos, unfortunately. And they're having fantastic luck raising these animals and learning about the ecology of the species that are here. So Chris and all you guys, thank you very much for your hard work in doing this. So by now, I'm sure you're aware the project funds tonight are going to go to a Tomistoma project. We used to call the false gharial, we now call the Malayan gharial, or the Sundig gharial. And the two of the primaries that are going to do the research work, Dr. Kyle Cheney, who's now with the University of Texas, San Antonio. Kyle, you want to come up here? And Dr. Matt Shirley from Florida. Thank you so much. It's a collaborative project. Matt Shirley is one of the OPIs on this, also Kim Fleet and Chris Byrne, Southeastern Louisiana. We're also collaborating with a lot of folks over in Indonesia and Malaysia as well. Amir Hamidi has been an important person that we collaborated with over time. A lot of local folks that make this stuff possible, a lot of local fishermen and really awesome people that we work with. And so the goal is to assess the status of the species in two key areas, priority areas that haven't been assessed previously. And we also want to take genetic samples from these populations in the wild, compare and contrast how different they are from one another, to see what's going on genetically as well.
Sure. Yeah, I just want to say also, I mean, this project is exciting because it's the kickoff of a much bigger initiative looking at crocodilians across Indonesia. And Indonesia's got almost 7 species of crocodile now that are very little known, their status in the wild, their evolutionary history, conservation action. But as far as Southeast Asian countries go, Indonesia's really progressive when it comes to wildlife management. So kind of getting in, setting a foundation can really lead to long-term conservation action for these guys. and you guys being here at the beginning of this is really kind of the root of the initiative. So we're really grateful to you guys. I want to say thanks to Chris, of course, and the entire team of Crocodile Encounters. We're really happy to be here, see your facility. Thanks everybody for coming out. And like Kyle said, come chat with us about Indonesia, Central Africa, whatever. We're just happy to drink bourbon, have some beer, and chat with you guys. All right. So let's get it done. Thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen. I do want to recognize Colette Adams, who's one of our partners in Crocfest. I'm Kurt Harpsmeyer, and is Flavio still here? Did you slip out on? Flavio Morrissey is the other principal. And without your all's help, these events are your events. 100% of the money that is donated tonight will go to the conservation project. All of the expenses of putting this thing on are either borne by Chris Dieter for this event or by event sponsors, the posters that you see around here. So it's a great project, 100% volunteers, and nobody's making a dime on it. It's a great thing, a partnership between private sector. Zoos account for anywhere from a third to half of the funds that we raise at these events, and then our corporate sponsors like Rodent Pro and Timberline, and Zoo Med. I would encourage you guys to buy products from those companies because they give back. They're not just all about the profit. Okay? Anything else? All right, where is our auctioneer extraordinaire? Mr. Phil Goss, president of USARC, who's also here as a volunteer.
All right, everybody, if Chris comes back, obviously he can feel free to jump in and liven up everybody, but I'm Phil. I'm going to be your auctioneer for tonight. I am unlicensed, which means I can do whatever the heck I want to. I think do we have kids here? Anybody, if you're a child, raise your hands. That's probably all the adults here. Anyway, we're going to start it off. Feel free to abbreviate yourself. The auctions go way better the more you drink. So to start it off, we got some Texas single malt whiskey. They make whiskey in Texas? I'm from the Kentucky part of Indiana where they make real whiskey and bourbon, so I didn't know they had it down here in Texas. From Matt Shirley. And if you don't, does everybody have a plate? If you're gonna bid, make sure you have a plate. All you gotta do is raise that thing if you're the high bidder. Keep it up so we get your number and you'll pay at the end of the auction. I assume we'll probably hand out the booze. Are we gonna hand out the booze? Yeah, we'll give you the booze now, but everything else you gotta wait. You don't get it until you pay for it. So again, we got, it says Balcones Lineage Texas Whiskey is our first item, again from Matt Shirley. We'll start that at $10. I need $10 to open it up. $10 on a whole bottle of whiskey. I got 25 right there, I need $30. I got 30, I got 35, I got 40, I need 45. 45, I got 50. You 50, you good? $50, I need $55. Doc has it for 50. 55? 55, I need $60. $60. $60 going once. I got 60 over here. I got 65 right there. I need $70. 70 going once. 70 going, goatee up here has it. For 65, I need $70. 70 going once. 70 going twice. Sold it. $65 right there. The number 29. $65. From Matt Shirley, we got
Mecca stops Leptorhynchus.
We've got one of those print on canvas. Photo print on canvas, original photo. Really nice, printed on canvas. Just hang it up on your wall. We'll start that at $10. I got 10 right there, I need $20. I got 20 right there, I got 30 right there, I need $40. I got 40 there, I need 50. I got 50, I got 55, I got 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250, 260, hi Chris, 270, I need 280, 280 going, 300, I need 320, 320, I need 340, 340 going once, 340 going twice. Sold it, my man, 77 for 320. Thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode of Nomadic Geographic. You can support the channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing this video with your friends. You can also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Please stay tuned for future episodes, as well as more from Brandon's other show, Gnome J.O. Paranormal.